and nutritious food for their tables. And they're the sounds of members of our community who've benefited from United Way's financial education programs. See, wherever there's a need in our communities, there's a United Way. People working together to respond and growing the good for everyone. United is the way. So join us by getting involved or giving back. Learn more at unitedway.org.
Truck season is here at Triple J Ford, and we're blowing out deals on America's toughest lineup. Drive off in a new Ford Maverick starting at just $33,995, or step up to the legendary F-150 starting at $44,995. Need more capability? Check out the Ranger, Super Duty, Bronco, Explorer, Transit vans, and more, with dozens available to choose from. And for a limited time, get a free $500 gas card with your qualifying Ford truck purchase. Get pre-approved instantly at triplejguam.com. Triple J Ford, built Ford tough, built for Guam.
All the late nights, all the sacrifices, all the coffee. This moment is yours. Celebrate big at Guam Plaza Resort in Cajita or Blue Coral Ballroom. Contact Guam Plaza Resort today or stop by our food and beverage office and let's celebrate together.
The road to Adelup is here, and this time we spoke with Democrat candidates, Senator Torius Terlahi and Senator Sabina Perez. Here is your opportunity to hear how they plan to govern Guam. Watch the conversation on Wave 105's YouTube channel, dated May 28th. This is a Glimpses of Guam radio station.
Jackie boy, you're back, my man. I'm so in love with you. Whatever you want to do is alright with me. You make me feel so brand new. I just wanna spend my whole life with you. Let me say the sense. Since we've been together, loving you forever is what I need. Let me be the one you come running to.
Welcome back to the show. It's 14 minutes into the hour, 4 o'clock, and right about now, it is that time we check the roads of Guam as we help you move forward. Proudly being brought to you by Guam Auto Spot. Standing by, welcoming him back, Mr. Pauly Suba.
All right, let's see how we can help you move forward on this Tuesday afternoon. Nothing is as crazy or as slow as it was around 12:30 this afternoon.
Okay.
Over in Manilao.
Yeah.
It was gridlock.
Oh,
going
bet.
in, just trying to leave UOG.
Did you get
it
the
was
count?
out of control.
Did you get the count of how many students?
322.
Wow.
322.
That's a big class.
The reason why I remember that number, I might have a couple numbers off, but they have 7 merit scholars.
Wow.
And you get a merit scholar for every 50 students.
Nice.
Right? And so 300 would get you 6. They're over 300, so they get a 7th. And so what that is that's free college. Right? It's a free ride for 4 years.
Nice.
As long as they keep their grades up over at the University of Guam. Obviously, you have to go to UOG to get that. So, yeah, the University of Guam announced that JFK's class of 2026 received 7 merit scholars.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so again, when it comes to traffic, I don't see anything as bad. It was difficult. It was about close to an hour to get out, like from getting in the car and trying to navigate through. It didn't matter which way you went. If you went towards Marine Lab or you went towards GW,
yeah,
you weren't going to move.
Gridlock.
Yeah. I was hoping there were police officers directing traffic. I think I did see one under the shade eating lunch. But
They don't want it to accrue overtime or.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just optics. It's just optics. I don't know for sure what was happening underneath that tree.
In his
but it was
defense,
nowhere near a traffic light.
In his defense, it was 12, right? It was
Yes,
lunchtime.
it was lunchtime. It was lunchtime. Like, when is there ever a squad car parked underneath the tree, hiding from the sun? It's 12:40 in the afternoon. More than likely, they are having lunch.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was over by the Marine Lab side, so. But we were able to get able to go navigate our way down to Tumon and get some of that Chili's and the free graduation. I
forgot
food.
to tell you, give me some food.
I'm sorry, I totally forgot to bring it. We did have some leftovers. My bad.
Yeah, no worries.
Once again, helping you move forward on this Tuesday. That's Guam Auto Spot. Schedule that test drive today. Call them up, 478-AUTO. View their inventory on their website at guamautospot.com.
All right, so here's the number, 671-922-1051. Of course, this is the bright side, and he's back on the hot seat, Mr. Pauly Suba.
It is pretty hot. Charlie got it really nice and hot.
Got it nice and toasty.
I appreciate you, Charlie. I am so very grateful.
Yes.
I don't know what I would have done if I missed this day. This is end of an era.
Yeah.
This is my baby boy.
This is the last one.
Yes,
Oh,
graduating
my gosh,
from
yeah.
high school. So I am.
You should have just taken the whole day off.
Oh, no, there's a lot of things, allegations and court cases and stuff. So,
yeah.
And not only that, I don't have very much leave left. So
maybe you can ask one of the GovGuam workers if they can
that's
donate.
True, right? Donate some of it. You got 1,000 hours of leave. Does it transfer over to the private sector? Maybe if you take 200 hours of your 1,000, it converts to 2 hours of private sector leave. All right. So what do you want to do? We're done with the break, right?
We're done with the break.
So
Let's
I do want to
start off.
I do want to thank our sponsors, Chili's Grill and Bar. Like I said, we went over there as well, just to feed the graduate and just kind of soak it all in. And so it was such a great time, just celebrating our graduate over at Chili's Grill and Bar. You can too, with the free entree, a free soda, and a free appetizer, right? So we got the classic, we got chips and salsa, and then the graduate got a Sprite. And there's so many deals. I basically could have the same thing too. The 3 for me deal was only $12.99.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's plenty of offerings, and it was a very popular spot. I've been noticing more and more people go there. Chili's is, I'm not just because they're sponsors. Chili's is my kids' favorite spot. They love that place. They go to eat dinner there on Fridays without me, because that's how much they love Chili's. So we appreciate them. Chili's, more life, great food, and memories happen here. Also, Subway, you got to refresh to be fresh.
Yes.
GTA, we start with you. And Triple J. Remember, right now at Triple J Ford, get that free $500 gas card when you drive home with a new Ford truck. Visit triplejguam.com. Get pre-approved instantly. So, again, our number is 671-922-1051 or 1052. We are online, thewave105.com, as well as our YouTube channel, Wave 105.1 FM Guam. There's a couple of things that we can get into, Ryan.
Sure.
In the 5 o'clock hour, I sent you a link.
Okay.
Through the WhatsApp. I want to basically play the valedictorian speech from today. It's right on track with what we do in the 5 o'clock hour. The first one was yesterday, and we're going to continue to do that thanks to our sponsor Provisions, right? So good news for a change around 5:10 this afternoon. What we'll do for good news for a change is we will play the Valley's speech today. It was very inspiring, very relatable too. I get inspired by this up and coming generation, just how well they use technology, how they're embracing some of the technology, but then also ethically too, right? There is this pushback against AI, from the next generation. And so that we have to track very carefully too, because if we are saying that all of these countries and organizations have already decided that they are moving forward, and they are going to rely heavily on AI to run their companies and run their economies. We have to pay attention to that.
Any bill writing services there?
Yes, actually, yes.
Okay.
But here in Guam, if there's pushback, if the next generation is saying no, then where do we go from there? And so I think there will be a balance. You cannot deny the next generation and what they're passionate about. I mean, we just have to be careful not to wreck it by the time they take over. And we can argue that we're pretty dang close to wrecking it all. Yeah. The whole place is burning. It's burning down.
Yeah.
But I'm not panicking unless you're panicking.
Yeah.
You every time you think that things couldn't get any worse, just wake up in the morning and read another headline. But it is, and that's why I feel like what this young man writer says, and we'll save it, is super relatable, because he was just sharing that you could plan out your entire day. You can plan out your entire week. You can plan out your entire year. You can plan out your entire life, and it will not go as planned. It just won't. And going through challenges and going through tribulations just builds character, right? And so, again, I really appreciate it. I heard every single word that Ryder had to say. He is their valedictorian, John F. Kennedy High School's valedictorian. So again, like I said, we'll save it. But, the rumors look like they are true, my friend, when it comes to shutting down schools.
Okay.
Right? Or at least the consideration of. So 6 schools are being considered to be decommissioned. And this is the work that happened even prior to
you ever watched
Dr. Judy Wampat came on.
You ever watched the movie White Chicks with the two Wayans
I love
brothers?
White Chicks.
When they were acting like yeah.
I literally love White Chicks,
yeah, so
but I love the movie more.
There was a part where they were like looking at each other as like, well, you thought it, well, you said it. Well, that's pretty much what's going on with GD.
Oh yeah. I mean, so I didn't want to say the names because again, it wasn't on record.
Yeah.
But there were rumors, and to be honest with you, the stakeholders of the school, they knew already. They knew it a long time ago. There was one of the I want to say it was the very first. It was the very first town hall meeting that related to decommissioning schools, and it happened down south. This was over a year ago.
What are the schools that are, on the chopping block?
Marshall Sablon Elementary School, Harry S. Truman, Maritzo Martyrs, Talafofo Elementary, Inalahan Elementary, MU Lujan. They all have one thing in common. They're all southern schools.
Wow.
All of them. That's insane. That's insane.
What sucks, man, is for a long time, right? All I know, because, my dad is from down south. And, this whole mentality that the South always gets left behind in terms of, no matter who the governor is, no matter what the senators, they always get left behind. Construction always happens late. The promises were made that never transpired or never came about. Yeah, so now this whole thing, if this rumor is true.
Oh, it's not a rumor anymore.
Okay.
They're being considered to close.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, and now it goes back to what I said, right? So what is the plan if this is being considered?
Well, again, what do we know and what have they been saying, right? Since COVID, populations have decreased.
Yeah.
But it's not just COVID. Families, I heard the conversation that you were having with Charlie. Great conversation. Families are leaving.
Yeah.
Why? Healthcare.
Yeah.
And not willing to come back because we got to fix our healthcare.
Exactly.
That's the foundation of it, right? yeah, families are leaving, so the population has decreased because families have left since COVID. But also more charter schools. So where did these charter school students come from? Yeah, some of them did come from private schools, but let's just be honest with each other. Most of them came from public schools.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, is
So,
there
Most
a
of them
need?
came from GDOE.
It kind of makes me wonder why charter schools were even thought of.
Oh,
Right.
Dr. Judy Wampat, because they provide a unique way, a unique curriculum. You could not open a charter school. It's in the law.
So
you
are
must
you-
be providing a unique curriculum outside of
Outside
GDOE
of,
or of any other charter school.
Traditional stuff.
Right.
Yeah, traditional curriculum that you
And
would
not
get.
every child
public.
learns the same way.
Yeah.
And so you're providing more options for the student. And so more options is just better. It's, to me, I agree it's better. However, I would argue that when has GDOE actually had the proper resources to provide for every student adequately? When?
Wow.
Efficiently. Because the lawyers say we haven't been following the law. The Adequate Education Act. We haven't for years.
It's funny because,
So
one of
we haven't even lived up to the law.
one of the charter schools that I know of is actually providing curriculum for the deaf academy, which
Yes.
something that this is not even being thought of. I mean, during my time, they had what you call special education, but because the law said no, you cannot separate students, you have to integrate them. That's where that.
At one
came
point
about.
they were. I mean, Chief Brody Elementary
Yes.
they separated and then they integrated them into
they
the
had
school
to because
system.
of the because it was the federal government's way of saying no, everybody's the same here. You cannot
Because it
separate.
almost feels like you're ostracizing them.
Exactly. Yeah. And so now with Career Tech, instituting this full-blown deaf curriculum for the deaf students, I think is a good thing because we just don't know. Some of these kids are like mute. They don't, they can't
Sure.
talk. And so how do they
Yeah.
communicate? So I think charter schools have their good parts, and I agree with you that most of these students do come. I mean, can you imagine if this thing with Career Tech did not exist, and you're dealing with, a student that is mute or deaf? How would what are the mechanisms for GDOE to teach this student when they're not even provided the resources, and you cannot separate this child? So, one-to-one aids, they're only temporary, right, for the school year, and then they're off. Because they're not even full-blown employees of GDOE. They're contracted for however long the school is. So I get it, but yeah, it's sad that this has to come about. And if it's the money thing, I don't think it's a money thing because GDOE always gets pretty much close to what they're always asking for.
They do say it's the money thing.
Really?
Yeah, because if you decrease the population, you get less money per pupil. Right? The less the less pupil,
yes.
the less money that comes from
But the actual student from GDOE gets about $13,000 per person, right? Or per
Right.
student, where the charter schools only get $7,800.
the facilities are a lot smaller.
Yeah.
A lot smaller than a facility. The power bills are completely different. The amount of staff that you have, right? Again, you don't need to also you also don't need to hire a teacher at the same salary
Yeah.
as the GDOE teachers, right?
Yeah.
And so I think it's unfair to compare charter schools and public schools in that way because their overhead is way more.
No, and rightfully so because they're a bigger population.
Right.
But okay, so when you
So-
decrease students and you're getting, probably 3/4 of the amount.
I'm
of what-
okay
yeah.
with giving charter schools the same amount per pupil.
Yeah.
But then the teachers better be certified just like the
Yeah.
teachers at GDOE.
They
better
have to-
follow the same
standard.
law.
Yeah, they follow the standard.
What is it? The 14 points.
Yeah.
Of an adequate
It'll
education
be interesting.
better be the same as the charter schools then too, and they're not.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see the data, right? And the question should be: do you enjoy learning? Is it easy? I mean, is it easy for a student to learn at a charter school versus the public school? And and let the kids answer. You've been to public school. You've been to charter school. What is it? Is it more conducive to you being in a charter school learning wise, or was the public school better? And I think that's raw data that the charter schools can use, right? Whereas no, I've been to public school, I've been to private school, but for some odd reason, I'm getting to learn more at a charter school.
Oh, absolutely. I've met these students. There's no denying that. I've met these students that said exactly that.
That went to charter schools.
And so, yes.
Yeah.
And so I'm not denying that at all. I mean, that's why I think more options, it just helps the student, because not every student learns the same.
Yeah.
And so if there's an opportunity for a student to go to a charter school where they're going to thrive, I'm not wanting to take that away from them.
Yeah.
However, I also don't want to pull the rug out of GDOE and just say you're a complete failure. This institution has failed for too long, and that's it. Enough. Abolish it. When we never actually gave them the resources to follow the law that we pressed upon them.
I know for a fact that if GDOE came out asking $300 million, the legislature would do their best to at least come close to that. And I've seen it in past legislatures where they're like, you're asking for $300 million. Well, we're going to give you 250. So they come really close. And so if it's a money thing and they're short $50 million, then I can see why there is a need or there is a consideration to close these schools.
Yeah, because they got to find a way. It has to be within reason, though, right? So if GDOE once had 36,000 students, and today the enrollment is about 23,000 students, they do have to address: do we just have too many facilities? And then, can we adequately take the facilities that we have now and properly maintain them and renovate them? Do we have the money that's available to do that? They need to keep putting seed money and put that aside for capital improvements. Yeah. And so Dr. Eric Swanson was onto something, because what he was saying, he didn't want to totally just sell them, and he definitely didn't want to demolish these buildings, because, hey, the population can shift. Things could change. Maybe our economy does change. Maybe things shift economically, and there's all of a sudden, all the people that did leave the island want to come home. And so we do need to look into leasing these facilities. There are many visions or ideas that are on the table that I heard from Lieutenant Governor Josh Tenorio, that I also heard from Senator Joe San Augustine, about how using some of these facilities for a middle college or for a shipyard repair training center, like Lieutenant Governor Josh Tenorio was saying over at Southern High. But any of these ideas, putting charter schools in these facilities too, and having them pay the rent. Why when if charter schools are paying private companies rent, I mean, you have a school facility that's available to them, lease it to them.
You know what I would do if I was the schools? If I was GDOE, I would go to all these people, all these construction companies that are bringing H2 workers. I'm like, okay, here's the deal. You guys maintain it, you guys rent it out, and you can house those people as barracks.
Yes.
And that's money for the government. That was an idea that I was talking to one of the senators when I used to work down in the legislature. She thought it was a great idea, but never came about.
According to the PDN, because they're the ones that had this interview with Superintendent Judy Wampat, right? not just are they dealing with the lower population, right, and campuses are being underused and operating costs continue to rise. I mean, LBJ is vacant, yet we're still paying the power and the water for it.
Yeah.
Right? And they do have to turn the AC on. Otherwise, it's
The
black
mold.
mold like
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Right? Same thing with Chief Brody. So there's still a cost at that. And I remember a caller, she called in. She made a fabulous point. Why are we closing schools down when we don't even have a plan for how we're going to use them next school year? You still have all of these teachers' salaries. You still have to pay you didn't lay them off unless they left for retirement, but you still have so many teachers that can fill those positions at those schools until you find use for these schools. Don't close them because you're still having to pay the maintenance costs on them, right? So I thought that was a great idea. But again, GDOE is dealing with teacher shortages, staff vacancies, aging school buildings, higher utility bills, maintenance costs, legal requirements under Guam's education laws, costs tied to union agreements and employee contracts, right? And so it has become increasingly expensive to keep all 39 campuses operating when there are significantly fewer students. The part that is very sad is the southern community always gets ignored.
Yeah.
They're the
Always get left
ones
behind. Yeah.
they're the ones that they cut first.
Yeah.
And here we are talking about 6 schools, all elementary schools, all from the south.
But
And
what is
so-
the contingent? Where are these students going to go? That's the question here.
They'll bust them further up.
Wow.
But here's the problem. I mean, even Dr. Eric Swanson said this. What he loved about this community, he loved that the communities fought. They fought hard. They're very community centric. And then he also said, it just makes sense to have a school within your community because kids walk to school. They become part of the village hub.
You know, the last
Things
time.
happen at the elementary school. Volunteers. I knew a woman over at Carbolito. I love her so very much. She is part of the parent-teacher conference, the parent-teacher organization, well after her kids left Carbolito. Well after, because Carbolito Elementary has become part of her family.
Yeah.
The staff, the faculty, so her kids were going through elementary, grandkids going through elementary, and she's still there volunteering.
Nice.
Because
dedicated.
but that's not just one person. That's what happens at these schools. They become a central hub for
They get
the
invested.
whole village.
Yeah, they get invested. I mean, it takes a village to raise a child.
Yeah.
Right? So,
Somebody's on the line?
yes, we got
right.
that wants to take part in
Yeah.
the discussion.
Half a day, Wave 105, you're on the air.
Hello?
Hello there, you're on the air.
Hey, Pauly, how you doing, man?
I'm doing
You
well.
know, I was just listening to you guys and what you guys were talking about schools
Yeah.
and how you mentioned that the southern villages of Guam are always left short enough to fit.
Yeah.
You know, you're absolutely correct. You know, our southern residents are some of the most respectful, beautiful, and amazing people out there on this island, and you know, they can benefit from, you know, let's say some of the schools close down there in the south. Perhaps, you know, some of our lawmakers can retrofit a couple of the schools for a medical facility for like a public health down
Right.
there. You know, I know there's Iran has one public health facility, but you know, just to travel that far across Aga Pneumatic Road up
Right.
towards Marisa towards Iran,
Right.
you know, is a journey all unto itself. But
Right.
I do believe Agate, Pneumatic, and Santa Rita, in addition to PD and Pneumatic itself, can benefit from a medical facility down there in that portion of the island.
Yeah.
You know, so that's just a food for thought, you know, if they can retrofit one of the schools. I don't know if it's possible, but I do believe, you know, to put man on the moon, you know, anything is possible to make use of the government facilities down there.
Right. Yeah. I appreciate
Great
the
ideas.
engaging. Yeah, for sure. Thanks for the call.
Yeah. Thank you,
All
sir.
right.
Good idea.
And so so just to clarify, right, I'm not saying that all 6 of those schools will close, But why only this? Why, if any one of those 6 schools close, it will be another Southern school.
Yeah.
So they already lost a Southern school, FQ Sanchez, right? They lost that school.
Yeah.
So those schools went to Marito Martyrs. We're still trying to figure out how to utilize that facility. I know there's still some construction that needs to happen over at FQ, right? And so I know Mayor Bada wants to utilize that facility and maybe even have a charter school there too. I think that was also in consideration. JP Torres Success Academy was once a Southern school too. And look, it moved to Tidzin, and now the JP Success Academy is also closing, understanding that there are only three students left after these students graduate. And so those 3 students have some options to either go back to the school of their district, go to GCC, or go to Esmudzao at no cost. Joe's on the line.
Yes.
Hafa Joe, you're on the air.
Hafa Day, Pauly. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well.
You know, that last caller was right in regards to using the campuses for like a medical facility. You remember the Umatic Elementary that was across from the mayor's office?
We were just talking about that, Sanchez, right? Is it
Okay.
Sanchez? Is FQ Sanchez, right? That's what it was called, yes.
Yeah, so I used to, when I first retired from the military, that's when that school closed down, and I was like, man, just imagine if I was a family practice doctor. I'd make a killing. I'd be rich because everybody from Matic, Mauricio,
Right.
they'll come there, you know. So, that, you know, food for thought. But on regards to closing down schools and DOE's numbers decreasing enrollment, the same can be said for Catholic schools in Guam. St. Anthony, Santa Barbara, all of those schools are feeling the repercussions of low enrollment.
Yeah, they did.
But
They also shut down was it San Vicente?
San Vicente.
Yeah.
It's now a charter school.
Yeah.
There are 2 charter schools
Mount
at
Carmel.
San Vicente.
And Mount Carmel too. Yeah.
Mount Carmel
okay.
turned into
To a
a
charter
charter
school.
school.
Yeah.
Yes.
Correct. But here's my thing. Can all of a sudden, okay, we knew when Swanson was the superintendent, he closed LBJ and
Chief
Chief
Brody.
Brody.
Yes.
Okay, now all of a sudden we're being told by the new administrator, Ms. Wampat, Speaker, that there were 6 carried over from Swanson's time.
Yes. Those are the
But we
6
ne-
in for
Those are
consideration.
the 6 that for consideration.
Yeah.
Now, my question is, we have a superintendent that came and developed the charter schools, who fought and said the charter school teachers are not required to be certified like our
they're
DOE teachers.
They're not. Yep. You're correct.
Now, and then also we have people asking for more money for charter schools. The point I'm getting at is if we continue to open more charter schools, of course your enrollment is going to be down in the DOE and the private sector.
Yes. Yes.
So, and then we're going to have to invest more money between DOE and charter schools who are asking the legislature to increase the funding for per child per year.
Yes.
So, I mean, it doesn't take a genius to know that since we opened this many charter schools, there goes our enrollment. So there has to be a give and take.
Right.
But I don't agree with a superintendent that came from the charter schools, who fought for the charter schools, to be the superintendent and say, oh, we want to close down 6 more schools, possibility, all in the South, and it came from Swanson. So, I mean, it doesn't take a genius that this charter schools is what lowered the enrollment in Guam. That's all I wanted to say.
I
Thank
agree
you,
with
Paul.
you, Joe. Take care. Yeah. Again, I just so we don't misspeak, right? There is no final decision that has been made, and no schools have officially been approved for closure. But there are 6 schools that are being considered. And again, I mean, I agree with Joe. It doesn't take a genius. They're all Southern schools. Marshall Zablon is in Hoggett. Harry S. Truman is in Santa Rita Sumai. Marito Martyrs, obviously, Marito. Talafofo in Ilahan is in Ilahan. And MU is Zotnia, right? And so, again, when you close some of these schools, like let's just take, for instance, Hoggett. I mean, if it's one or the other, because I really can't, there's no way that both Truman and Marshall will close. One or the other would, right? And so the Hoggett students will go to Santa Rita Sumai, or the Santa Rita Sumai will go to Hoggett. These are elementary students, though, right? And so I'm just thinking about my own nieces and nephews that live in Hoggett. There's no way they're walking all the way up to Santa Rita Sumai, to Harry S. Truman, that's right across Southern High. There's no way they're walking that. So they must ride the bus. They must. What do they do right now? They walk 2 streets over, and they're at school. And that means the world to the child and to the family and to the village. What that does, it just creates a healthier environment for those students, for the parents, and for the community to be able to just walk to school.
You know, my dad is a class of 1957. And throughout his whole time going into school, mind you, the schools were up central. I mean, GW was at Mongmong. So he would have to get up, walk all the way from, because he was from Ematic, so he would walk the beach at Sele Bay, and then meet the bus in Agate. And so that was a daily thing. And then to go to Mongmong for the GW bus.
The Inalahan students are already doing that by busing them all the way to Southern High. They're already being super inconvenienced. And thank goodness the violence has gone down. But my goodness, when Southern High first opened, it was riot after riot after riot, integrating Inalahan students with the Zotnya and the Hoggett and the Santa Rita Sumai, all at Southern High. I mean,
it's like a power keg right there.
Jeremy Newby. I mean, just look him up. Jeremy Newby died at Southern High.
That was
and
a couple
so
years ago.
That is what we have to always consider. You have to consider when you're making these decisions too, that you're disrupting ecosystems, you're disrupting communities when you make these kinds of decisions. And I'm not saying that they're not going through the whole process, but we really have to pay attention. Somebody's on the line?
Yes.
Hafide, Way 105, you're on the air.
Hello.
Hello?
Hi, you're on the air.
Hey, Pauly.
Hey.
Look what you started with this subject. Now, all I'm going to do is focus on, look at where these new leaders came from, and then you kind of have to ask yourself, are they really the right choice to lead these school efforts? From Dr. Wampat to Dr. Who's going over to GCC now?
Gotharts.
I mean, come on. They were there. They were sitting in that place already. They didn't think about these things when they were sitting behind the desk, leading this effort to lead our schools, to lead our education, to get the best education for our kids. It sounds like a broken record when you think about it. That caller the other 2 calls ago was very spot on when it talked about Dr. Wampat coming from charter school and lifting them up as being the right choice. Now she's shutting more of our public schools down, or Dr. Swanson at the time, but never mind Dr. Swanson, he's no longer here. It's her call. But my point is, we're using the same people over and over and over again, and it's not working. I don't think it is. Hello?
I'm listening to you, sir. I got you. You're on the air. Yeah.
I don't know what to make of it. Are we? I know the board members are elected in. They volunteer to sit in and become a board member, but are they really the right choice? Are we doing our best to ask for volunteers or leaders from the community, the folks that have kids, and asking them to, if they want to step in and do this? Because if we keep using the same knowledge, the same basic principles from 20 years ago, I mean, it didn't do anything positive, in my opinion. I mean, you're shutting down the schools in the South. Now you got to let these poor kids commute even further. And we don't even have money for budget for buses or to pay for bus drivers. Mm-hmm. It's just ludicrous to think that we can pay almost $225,000 to a superintendent. Two of them, one at GCC, or three of them, one at UOG, one at GCC, and one at the superintendent. But we can't figure out what's the best plan for our education on this island. But we can quickly pay these salaries right away because we want the best of the best. But I don't think these are the best of the best, in my humble opinion.
Understood.
I think we're playing a broken record, and it needs to just stop. But thanks.
I appreciate you calling in. You know, there were a number of people that applied for superintendent, right? So the only people that could vote for the next superintendent is the Guam Education Board. And to be fair, though, Dr. Judy Wampat, I just want to make sure that this is out there. She couldn't have applied if she didn't qualify for the position. So does she qualify according to all of the requirements? She does qualify for the position. Now, she was up against a number of finalists. There were a few names out there, right? And the board chose Wampat. GCC, I'm not quite sure how many applied. I have been told there are more than just Dr. Judy Guthertz. However, I believe Dr. Judy Guthertz has already agreed to accept the position. So I was told by GCC that once Dr. Judy Guthertz does accept, there will be a release of who else applied. Again, this is a community college. There are taxpayer monies that go into. We watch the budget hearing. Taxpayer money gets sent over to GCC, so the community, the public, has a right to know now who also applied.
That would be interesting to know. Only because, like, I don't even know what the selection process is.
They said it's very thorough and very transparent. How can it be transparent if we don't know who else applied?
Because if it was by the vote, I'm like, hey. If you know,
we didn't get to hear anybody because every vote went to Judy Guthertz. Every vote went to Judy Guthertz. So again, the board decides.
Yeah.
No one else gets to vote who's the president of GCC, who's the superintendent of GDOE, except for their boards. Same thing with UOG.
Yeah. You know, my good friend Joe Sanchez, grew up with him.
He's in Hawaii right now. And you know what he's doing? He's doing the stuff that he left GDOE to do.
And that, you know,
and they love him out there.
Since second grade, I've known this guy, and you know, I'm texting him back and forth. I'm like, hey man, we miss you. Are you any plans to come back?
He's not even. There's no stress. He has no stress whatsoever. I think he's overseeing a bigger population of students in Hawaii.
Yeah.
He's not stressed at all.
It's like, what, 1 million plus people right over there? But that, you know, you want to talk about brain drain? There you go. That is brain drain. We had this guy, institutional knowledge, former deputy superintendent, and he just left. He was like, I'll see you guys later. Peace out. Yeah.
We chose Eric Swanson over Joe also.
Yeah. But Eric Swanson also saw his potential.
And
like, look,
brought him on his team.
You need to come over here, man. I need you. Because he was there with John Fernandez.
He was also there with John Fernandez.
Whatchamacallit, going far back as even Juan Flores. Yeah. He was in the system back then. Yeah. So, I don't know. 6 schools? It's not even...
In consideration, again, to be clear, there's no final decision, and none of the schools have been approved to close. However, they do have to look at this again. This is, again, Dr. Eric Swanson was his team. Even Joe Sanchez, you bring up Joe, he was part of that team to look into it. What I also just appreciate, too, though, from Joe, and I would appreciate this from Superintendent Judy Wampat and her team as well, is please include the community. Those town hall meetings, you really heard from the community. You heard their real life issues. I mean, I'm just giving you a couple examples of walking 2 blocks over from my own nieces, right? But you'll hear it from them. You'll hear their struggles and their pains and how much it means to have that school in their community, you know? And then it's okay. I mean, I'm not saying that you yell out, "Not over my dead body will we close schools." I'm not saying do that. I'm just saying be honest. Be honest. Like, look them in the eye, like Joe Sanchez did. Look them in the eye and said, "I hear you. However,
this is the reality."
we have to right-size the government.
Exactly.
We have to right-size GDOE. And then, yes, our caller's correct. Joe's correct. I mean, what do you think's going to happen when you increase the amount of students that can go into a charter school? What do you think's going to happen when you increase the amount of charter schools? Where do you think these students are going to come from? They're going to leave GDOE, and they're going to go right into those charter schools.
When you look at,
So is that what we want too? Because I've also heard whispers that there are some in the legislature that are just saying, you know what? President Trump wants to abolish USDOE. How about we just abolish GDOE? I hear those whispers.
You'll watch out, because now you're sounding like MAGA.
I mean, it has nothing
Is
to do
President
with
Trump onto something
It has
here?
nothing to do with sounding like MAGA. It has everything to do is this reasonable?
Yes.
Do we have justification for it? And again, I just have to go back to GDOE never got a fighting chance. And so it's unfair to say that the system is a complete failure when we never gave them the resources to be successful.
I don't think the system is a complete failure. I think it's a management issue and how they manage.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
I've heard
And I'm
before.
not saying that. Okay,
I've heard that
Wampat,
before.
Eric Swanson, and all the others. I just think it's almost a cultural thing now, right? I mean, out of all the agencies, GDOE is the biggest.
Yeah.
And the way these politicians look at GDOE is that's votes. So I don't even want to mess with that.
But GDOE does not make money, right? Unless
No,
you
they
allow them to.
No, I mean,
Unless you allow them to lease the properties. But we also saw there was some confusion in that.
Yeah.
They're not actually, these buildings are not the property of GDOE.
And
so they're the property of the government of Guam. So who has the authority to lease these properties? Make it sound, make it clear, and move forward with it. Because obviously when we're talking about agencies need buildings to be in so we can stop paying rent, right? That'll save us some money. Well, I think maybe the answer is staring us right in our faces. Agencies like the AG has said he would like to move out of the buildings that he's in. He's paying the most rent where he's at. Well, an AG's office can move into one of these
LBJ.
These schools, right, that are vacant. Because maybe you don't close Marshall. Maybe you don't close any of the 6. But you consolidate them into one space, and then the other space, there are all of these government agencies or other charter schools or other public health facilities, like our callers had said. There are many ways to do this. We don't have to actually close the schools down if we're already saying that there are so many government agencies that are renting.
So let I get this clear. So you're saying that GDOE, when they close down a school, they don't control the actual site of the school?
I think they still are. It's still within their budget.
Now that's
within their budget because
so
they
that's-
are having to pay the power and the water.
So to
But-
relieve all of that,
Yeah.
all right, then if they close a school, that school, if it's not used for school purpose, should go back into the government of Guam. That way, the governor says, all right, we need a public health agency. we're going to put it in
Codify
there.
it.
Yeah, and so
Codify it. Make
that's
it,
the only way because it saves GDOE money.
Yeah, there's too many unanswered questions. There's too much uncertainty on who even has the authority. So make it clear who has the authority over these facilities, and then move forward with either leasing or segregating and moving some of these agencies. I mean, we're hearing that public health pays DOA to rent Hessler.
Exactly.
All of that.
And
the AG is paying an astronomical amount of money over at the old Bank of Hawaii building. How many public health offices and divisions are scattered throughout Guam? So, I mean, use these facilities.
I mean, people got to start thinking, man. I mean, really.
I don't think you need to close the school. I think you just need to, all right, all of these classrooms here are still Marshall Sablon. And these 2 classrooms or these 3 classrooms are now a satellite health center.
No, I would say if you're going to close schools, if that's what they're considering, right, then GDOE, the moment they say we're shutting it down and it's not being used for any school function, then
they shouldn't have to pay the power or the water. They shouldn't have to pay the power or the maintenance.
And the government has a place to house all these agencies.
We're making too much sense, though, so we better stop.
Oh, yeah. That's
5:02 in the afternoon.
That's our Achilles heel.
5:02. We'll take the break. KGUM FM in Dededo, Guam. We'll be right back with good news for a change and the valedictorian speech from John F. Kennedy's graduation that happened this morning at 9.
KGUM FM, Dededo. Powered by Glimpses Media.
Some states are turning their public health agencies into immigration informants. I'm Katherine Houghton, and this is your KFF Health News Minute. At least 5 states require their public health agencies to flag whether a Medicaid patient's immigration status is in question. The Trump administration has ordered Medicaid data be used to enforce immigration laws. Studies find that such measures deter people from seeking health care, even if they're in the country legally. It's hard to hold down a job when you're hungry. That's what health researchers are saying about new, stricter rules for SNAP benefits. Last year, the GOP-controlled Congress expanded work requirements for people to qualify for food assistance. Supporters say these mandates get people into the workforce, but studies show that in some cases, employment dropped after stricter rules took effect. Those who don't meet the new work requirements are limited to 3 months of food assistance every 3 years. There's more at kffhealthnews.org.
Attention high school and college students. It's not too late to find a summer job. Here's how. First, while students seem to think that everything can be done online, they should try visiting potential employers in person. A student's personality and enthusiasm are often more compelling than a resume that offers little work experience. If you do search online, try visiting niche sites that focus on summer positions. Teensforhire.org and summerjobs.com list jobs for students with great attitudes and no experience. For those seeking a job plus an adventure, like working at a ranch in New Mexico or Alaska, try coolworks.com. And parents should stand back. Employers say they are amazed how often parents will try to apply for their children. One manager reported that a father pretended to be their child for a phone screen interview. Learning how to land a job may be the most valuable experience your child can get this summer. With your next job, I'm Stephen Greenberg.
Why be at the forefront of childhood cancer research? At St. Jude, we do it because every innovation we make is a moment we give to children with cancer everywhere. But we can't do it without you. Help St. Jude give children with cancer more moments. Moments that can last a lifetime. Learn more at stjude.org.
Truck season is here at Triple J Ford, and we're blowing out deals on America's toughest lineup. Drive off in a new Ford Maverick starting at just $33,995, or step up to the legendary F-150 starting at $44,995. Need more capability? Check out the Ranger, Super Duty, Bronco, Explorer, Transit vans, and more, with dozens available to choose from. And for a limited time, get a free $500 gas card with your qualifying Ford truck purchase. Get pre-approved instantly at triplejguam.com. Triple J Ford, built Ford tough, built for Guam.
All summer long, Chili's Party Platters make celebrating easy and delicious. Perfect for grad parties, family gatherings, or anytime you're feeding a crowd. Available for pickup or for delivery. Only at Chili's. Great value and memories happen here.
The road to Adelup is off and running. This time, we sit down with Republican candidate Speaker Frank Blass and Dr. Mary Okada. Catch the full conversation that took place on May 7th on the Wave 105's YouTube channel. Stay informed and hear their vision for Guam's future. Wave 105 is a glimpse of Guam radio station.
.06 in the afternoon, and right about now it's time to check the roads of Guam as Auto Spot and Pauly Suba helps you move forward through your daily commute. Buenas.
All right, let's check it out. Once again, I don't see too many issues. I mean, it is starting to get more congested, but it's not piling up. Maybe it will in a few more minutes as people are making their way to their vehicles as they just clocked out as we hit the 5 o'clock hour, right? But again, I don't see too many issues other than, you know, it's Marine Corps Drive at the major intersections. You are going to see some congestion there. Over by Route 3, getting on to Route 1, that again is General Ben Blas Boulevard. There's some congestion trying to get out of there, so just it looks like maybe two light changes, and then you should be able to either make your way south onto Marine Corps or continue north onto Route 1. But when you do make your way on north onto Route 1, expect more delays in the Dedido area until you pass about the Iseng Song intersection, and then it's nice and easy for you into Jigo. Once again, helping you move forward on this Tuesday. That's Guam Auto Spot. Schedule that test drive today. Call them up, 478-AUTO. View their inventory on their website at guamautospot.com.
Celebrate Father's Day with Power 98 and Wave 105 as we honor our first heroes. To enter, send a WhatsApp message or call in and share your funniest or most heartfelt dad story. Winners will be revealed from June 15th to June 19th, and you can win your dad a special bundle prize. Stay locked in to Power 98 and Wave 105. Brought to you by Guam Plaza Resort, Nana's Cafe, Roots Grill House, AutoWorks, Jollibee, Proline, and Cream and Butter.
When a warrior faces adversity, he fights through it. He finds a way. Freedom isn't free. Rolling strong. Belief. Believe you can, and you will.
Wheelchairs for Warriors provides mobility solutions to veterans and first responders injured in the line of duty. Join the mission and visit wheelchairsforwarriors.org.
The road to Adelup continues. This time, we sit down with Republican candidates. Vice Speaker Tony Atta and E.J. Calvo. Catch the full conversation that took place on May 5th on the Wave 105's YouTube channel. Stay informed and hear their vision for Guam's future. Wave 105 is a glimpse of Guam radio station.
Side of the ocean. I bet you in the morning you won't even know I'm gone. Tired of living here in the middle of a mixed emotion. I might as well be living on the other side of the sun.
I'm gonna send that one out to Joe Sanchez, who's living the other side of the ocean. Oh man. Sorry. I'm trying to find ways where I can hit people in the form of a song.
It's working.
Wave 105, thanks for tuning in. Here's the number, 671-922-1051. It allows you to talk to that gentleman right there who's living here, Mr. Pauly Suba.
We do want to thank our sponsors, right? GTA, we start with you. Subway, you got to refresh to be fresh. Chili's Grill and Bar, don't forget your graduate eats free.
Nice.
At Chili's Grill and Bar. At Chili's, more life, great food, and memories happen here.
You got to tell me about the food.
Oh,
What did you
yes.
order? What did you order?
What did we? Man, we got the triple. What do you call it when there's three choices? I mean, that's a meal in itself.
Yeah.
So the mozzarella cheese.
Triple threat? I don't know. What do you call it?
Triple dipper, I think is what they call it. I forget.
Yeah.
But anyways, so you got we always pick the sliders.
Okay.
Then we always the mozzarella sticks because the cheese pull is just that goes viral.
Yeah, you have to,
right?
And you base the mozzarella stick on the pool.
Yes, and then those crispers, they're basically chicken fingers, but they come in different flavors. Yeah, my oldest son Alex, he loves chicken fingers. Like he never got out of that. We thought that was a thing for him as a toddler.
Yeah.
Nope. Teenager, still chicken fingers. Grown adult, chicken fingers.
Well, I was a McNugget person. I still am.
I don't know if you saw that little girl. She's trending. She's going viral on TikTok. Chicken. But, I mean, you can't go wrong with any of the burgers either.
Oh, man.
Oh, and the ribs. Give me my baby back, baby back, baby back.
You know, when my other half flew in from Tinian and everything, and I picked her up at the airport. I was like, okay, so what do you want to eat? It's like Chili's. I hear you and Pauly talk about it a lot.
The thing that I love about them is they're reasonably priced.
Yes, they are. Yes,
right?
they are.
Because you can get your drink, you can get your appetizer, you can get your entree, and then you can get your dessert. You cannot not get the lava cake.
So what did the man of the hour, the graduate?
Oh, he got the burger.
Did he get the lava cake too?
Oh yes, have to,
Awesome.
must. That is a must.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, congratulations.
And then it's Tex-Mex, so any of that stuff, right? The quesadillas, the tacos, the fajitas.
Man, just the regular chips, man.
Ooh-wee.
That's
Yes.
a meal in itself.
Oh yes, because you get 3 different dippers too.
Yeah.
Right.
And they're
the white, the red,
the cheese sauce that they
and
got,
the guac,
the beer cheese that they got. Oh my gosh, forget it. Yeah.
We also want to show some love to Triple J, right?
Yes.
They're showing you love when you purchase a Triple J Ford truck, right? Get a free $500 gas card when you drive home with a new Ford truck. Visit triplejguam.com and get pre-approved instantly. Time for Good News for a Change.
Yes.
And Good News for a Change is brought to you by Provisions Wine and Cheese. They're open Monday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. And call Provisions at 671-633-9463. Keep that number in your pocket because I know they're closed already, right? They're open from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. 671-633-9463. Place your order today or visit the website provisionsguam.com. They serve fresh salads, delicious sandwiches, and authentic Roman-style pizza.
I was supposed to go there today, but I just got caught up with a lot of stuff. But tomorrow I'm gonna make my way down there.
I usually hit it up around right when they open up on Saturday, 11 a.m. They've got some great sandwiches.
They're open on the weekends too?
Saturday,
Nice.
11 to 3, yeah.
Jeez.
Again, the number is 633-9463. And so for today's Good News for a Change, we're going right back to the University of Guam for John F. Kennedy High School's graduation ceremony. This is their valedictorian, and I was just so inspired. I can relate to this young gentleman, right? I heard every single word. I really appreciated what he had to say. I know he was speaking to his fellow graduates, right? I know he was speaking to my son, but I feel like everybody in that room felt it because he talks about how you can plan your day out, you can plan your week, you can plan your life. It will never go as planned. And that is the beauty of it all. And so embrace that. And so we'll play it in its entirety. It's a little over 6 minutes, but it's a really good listen. And here's a treat. We figured out how to also not just play the audio, but on our YouTube, you can see it as well. So once again, this is Ryder Torres, John F. Kennedy High School, class of 2026, valedictorian.
Ryder has been a four-year member of the school tennis team, and this year his duo captured the boys' doubles title. As he begins writing the next chapter of his life, attending Purdue University as a mechanical engineering student, these experiences have helped set a solid foundation for his success. I present to you Ryder Villaflor Torres, valedictorian, John F. Kennedy High School class of 2026. Congratulations, Ryder.
Thank you, Ms. Bosley, for that amazing introduction. All right, everyone. Before I start my speech, I know that there isn't a chance to do this in the program. So I'd like to express my gratitude to all the teachers and class of 2026 council officers for leading this class through such a hectic senior year. As a senator myself, I personally saw just how much time and effort was put into all the events that happened this year, leading up to this graduation ceremony. So let's all please give a short round of applause to our class council and advisors. All right. Good morning, everyone, faculty, staff, families, and friends, and most importantly, to the class of 2026. My name is Ryder Villaflor Torres, and I'm so honored to be speaking with you all today as the class of 2026 valedictorian. Now, those words hold a lot of meaning. On paper, that means I have the highest GPA in the class. But to be honest with you, I'm still scared and super nervous standing before you today. Not because of the speech itself, although public speaking has never been one of my strong suits, but because there are so many things that could go wrong. I could trip while walking down, I could fumble my words, or I could even just completely make myself look stupid in front of 100 people, hundreds of people. Some of you may also know that I am obsessed with keeping track of things, constantly updating my to-do list on my phone every time something comes up. But if high school has ever taught me anything, it's that life never goes according to plan. And that's okay, because no good story happens from things going right. Now, by no means am I saying my life is bad, but I'm simply saying that nothing ever goes the way you expect it to. There's absolutely no way I could have planned standing here today and being the valedictorian, because honestly, even this was unexpected. I had to fail a whole lot more times than I succeeded to get here. I should have never took as many leadership roles I did, or joined half the things even mentioned in that introduction if it weren't for pure chance. I never could have pictured myself meeting some of the people I did, or even getting into a high school relationship with my now best friend, if it weren't for a few lucky instances or accidental calls. Some people may even know that I was this close to standing here as the class president instead of the valedictorian. Although I will admit, I'm so glad things played out the way they did. Little did I know that one door closing would lead to one of the best experiences and accomplishments of my high school career through the International Friendship Organization. So thank you to my council, my advisors, and most especially Mr. Samante and Ms. Basilio. And most shockingly, if you really know me, you'd also know that I was a hair's length away from not even attending JFK. Because coming from a private school, St. Anthony, I wanted to go to Father Duenas just down the street, because of course all my friends were going there. But again, that didn't work out, which was probably for the best. But thinking back to freshman year and my little mask-wearing self entering the halls of JFK for the first time, I planned a completely different path than the one I took. At the time, I thought that I knew what I wanted. I thought that I would spend the rest of my days in room D110 and hoping my life plan would magically appear in front of me. And as I reflect on how things actually went, I realized things worked out much better than I could have ever imagined. The truth is, looking back at the best moments in high school, nothing was part of the original plan. And I think many of us can relate to that feeling. Now I'm going to ask everyone here to do a little activity. I want you to think back to the last 4 years and identify a moment where you thought everything was over, your worst high school experience. Maybe you did something dumb that ended a friendship or relationship. Maybe you went bowling or played basketball instead of studying for an AP test. Or maybe you lost all motivation and thought life couldn't get any worse. Now I want you to think about how you felt at that moment. The anger, the stress, the embarrassment, the sadness, whatever you felt. Now think about where you are sitting today. In fact, I believe that's what school is really for. It never really was about having to learn how to find the area under a curve, although much love to Miss and Pablo. Because while these things are important to know for college and beyond, school was really the first place where we got to experience things going wrong and still having to walk into calculus class that same morning. It was about learning how to recover after getting hit with pandemics or typhoons and still having to plan prom the next weekend. Learning how to keep pushing forward when things don't go according to plan is what school really prepares us for. Because if you look back at the moment where everything went wrong and your life was probably thrown off course, you realize something important. You survived. And even better, you learned from it. And maybe it even led you somewhere better than where you originally wanted to be. And if you reflect on the moment I told you to think about earlier, you may even feel the same way. But that's life, and no good story happens from things going right. When you think of the greatest stories ever told, like Frankenstein, Their Eyes Are Watching God, or even Things Fall Apart, shout out Mr. P! The best part of the book is where something goes horribly wrong. That's because that's where the character grows. And the same thing applies to our lives. The truth is that I'm the valedictorian, but I'm far from perfect. I'm still scared, and I don't know what the future holds, and I'm pretty sure no one here truly does. But maybe the uncertainty isn't something we should fear, but something we should embrace. Even if you decide to forget my name or 90% of my speech after today, this is the one thing I want everyone to remember. If you want your life to be like any good story, just know when we leave this field house today and things inevitably don't go to plan, and trust me, it won't, I hope we learn not to see those moments as failures, but also as new opportunities. Those are the moments where the story is just getting interesting. Like the quote that I saw on Instagram Reels the other night of the actor Glenn Powell, he said, "Enjoy things not going according to plan, because if we knew the ending to our stories, it wouldn't be worth the watch." I thank everyone here today, but most especially my parents for being there for me all the time, even when I needed people to practice my speech to at 1 a.m. Without them, I would never have the values, skills, confidence, or anything I needed to do anything that I did. So thank you, Mom and Dad. I wish the best of luck and congratulations to my fellow class of 2026. And remember, don't be afraid of uncertainty. Don't be afraid of failure. Don't be afraid when nothing goes the way you plan. Sometimes the best moments in life are not in the plans, they're in the detours. And that's because no good story happens from things going right. Thank you, everybody.
There you go. Again, that's the valedictorian of the John F. Kennedy High School class of 2026, Ryder Torres. And so, I've never met this young gentleman, but, what he was saying inspired, and he was relatable too, right? So I was able to understand that, here's a kid that probably didn't think he was even going to be standing there, right? I mean, he said it. He said more likely be president of his class, because the president also gets to speak at the graduation. And so I guess he wasn't president, and so that could be considered a failure. But look, 4 years later, he's the dang best of the best, the valedictorian, right? And that
with honors.
Yeah, that didn't just happen by chance. That came from hard work. Mm-hmm. That came from trials and tribulations, right? It ain't easy. I mean, I was impressed when they started announcing the top 10. They were already at like 102 grade point average, like, wow. Or the complete score 102.
That should be the standard.
Like, what the heck? That's 10, and it just kept going up.
Yeah.
So I was very impressed with these students. I mean, I think that's a great program. When we talk about how do we keep students from leaving the island, that is a program that exists that addresses that. because they do that for all the GDOE schools, right? Again, for every 50 students in your school, you get one merit scholar. So 100, that's 2. 200, that's 4. 300, that's 6. And then there were 322, so 7 merit scholars, right? And so that's free college tuition. That is a way to over at the University of Guam. That is a way to address brain drain.
Yeah.
You know, and so I love that program. And so I'm not calling out anybody, but when they were announcing the top 10, I think only 4 were going to stay. You know, because they announced where they're going. Only 4 will stay. So understanding that 7 students would get a free ride over at UOG. Well, out of the top 10, only 4 are going to UOG. So what happens to the other 3? They just go down the line.
Yeah.
Number 11, do you want to go to UOG? Number 12, do you want to go to UOG? And there was the time when they were talking about losing that program. And that can never go away. That program can never go away. When people say, what? How much money is going towards the merit scholarships and how many students get free rides? That's a drop in the bucket, because that program addresses brain drain.
Yeah, it does.
So I was able to get even more information when I saw that, right? So every 50 for graduation, for every 50 students, not just this school, for every 50 students that graduate, you get 1 merit scholar. So there were 322 graduates for John F. Kennedy High School. So they got 7. So 7 qualify. We'll take the break because I do want to separate what we're going to talk about next from good news for a change, because it ain't good news.
It's bad news now?
I mean, that's just the reality. I mean, we're not
Pauly, come on,
we're not going to avoid it. It went to district court.
You're a Debbie Downer.
It's a former governor. Yeah. So we're not going to ignore it.
Yes, definitely.
Right?
Okay.
So again, good news for a change right here on Wave 105, brought to you by Provisions Wine and Cheese. Provisions, again, open Monday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call Provisions at 671-633-9463. Place your order today. Visit the website provisionsguam.com.
Before this famous flavor arrived, ice cream was strictly smooth, until a texture revolution sparked a decades-long rivalry. Welcome to the National Day Spotlight for June 2nd.
We love the crunchy, pillowy texture of National Rocky Road Day, but the flavor's origin is actually the subject of a bitter California ice cream war. Legend states that in 1929, William Dreyer used his wife's sewing shears to cut up marshmallows and walnuts into chocolate ice cream, naming it Rocky Road to mirror the economic struggles of the Great Depression. However, Fenton's Creamery in Oakland claims they actually invented the mix first by chopping up a popular candy bar and blending it into their chocolate base. By breaking the rule that ice cream had to be perfectly smooth, Rocky Road single-handedly invented the chunk category, paving the way for every cookie dough and peanut butter cup flavor we enjoy today.
There are so many great flavors of ice cream that have chunks of stuff in them.
I do enjoy chunky ice cream, too.
Me, too, if there's coconut in
Yeah.
there.
So, see, there's a good reasons to use women's sewing shears now.
There's not.
No,
There are
walnuts.
other scissors available that won't get you in the kind of trouble the sewing shears will. We're also celebrating National Rotisserie Chicken Day and National Bubba Day. I'm Alice Anderson.
And I'm Marlo Anderson with National Day Calendar, reminding you to celebrate every day.
If you're looking for world-class website hosting at a fair price, Pair Networks is your best choice. Whether you're a professional web designer or a beginner just getting your site online, Pair Networks has a web hosting plan that's right for you. Log on and learn more at pair.com. That's PAIR.com. Pair Networks, world-class web hosting at a fair price. Visit us at pair.com. Pair Networks.
Registering a domain name on the web? You should know about Pernick. Pernick offers .com names at a great price with quality service you expect. Because Pernick is powered by internet leader Pair Networks. Whether you need a domain name for business or personal use, Pernick is your best choice. Remember Pernick when you need a domain name. That's PAIRNIC.com. Pernick.
Straight up 5:30 in the afternoon, and once again, it's about that time we take a look at the roads of Guam, our last look at traffic, as he helps you move forward. Along with Guam Auto Spot, it's Mr. Pauly Suba.
All right, let's see if anything has changed since 5:10 in the afternoon. Oh, yeah, definitely. Roads are extremely busy. Also in Route 8, heading northbound, things kind of get better for you as you pass Kenyatta, that road that gets you into Harvest Christian Academy. So once you pass that, continuing on to Route 8, things are pretty decent. Even over at the Tri-intersection, I don't see too many difficulties in Route 10. Making my way all the way back down towards UOG, yeah, it looks nice and easy. Route 4 is as well. But if you're back over at the Tri-intersection, headed towards Route 16, you will see heavy congestion as you get down by Fort Juan Muña and all throughout Harmon Loop. And then it also does slow down for you as you get closer to Fatima and Route 1. On Route 1, it is major delays in the Tamuning area before you get to the ITC, continuing through Village of Donkey, passing Airport Road, Upper Tumon, also seeing delays near St. John's, and over by the hill that gets you back down towards Weston. Trying to get out of Tumon isn't as bad as I thought it would, but you know, it being summer and Simon Sanchez doing the double session over at John F. Kennedy, because they're not in session, I mean, that makes life a whole lot easier for everybody, right? And the word on the street is Simon Sanchez will not be double sessioning over at John F. Kennedy come the next school year. They'll be going to school at regular hours, right? What is regular hours after we've been doing double session for so long, right? 7 a.m. and going home at 1:30. It's not ideal. It's not ideal, but, you know, Simon Sanchez isn't built yet. So, I mean, it is what it is, right? Let's help you moving forward again. Is Guam Auto Spot. Call them up to schedule that test drive, 478 Auto. View their inventory on their website at guamautospot.com.
The road to Adelup is set. This time, we sit down with Democrat candidates Senator Joe San Augustine and former Senator Dwayne San Nicolas. Catch the full conversation that took place on May 8th on the Wave 105 YouTube channel. Stay informed and hear their vision for Guam's future. Wave 105 is a Glimpses of Guam radio station.
Celebrate Father's Day with Power 98 and Wave 105 as we honor our first heroes. To enter, send a WhatsApp message or call in and share your funniest or most heartfelt dad story. Winners will be revealed from June 15th to June 19th, and you can win your dad a special bundle prize. Stay locked in to Power 98 and Wave 105. Brought to you by Guam Plaza Resort, Nana's Cafe, Roots Grill House, AutoWorks, Jollibee, Proline, and Cream and Butter.
Truck season is here at Triple J Ford, and we're blowing out deals on America's toughest lineup. Drive off in a new Ford Maverick starting at just $33,995, or step up to the legendary F-150 starting at $44,995. Need more capability? Check out the Ranger, Super Duty, Bronco, Explorer, Transit vans, and more, with dozens available to choose from. And for a limited time, get a free $500 gas card with your qualifying Ford truck purchase. Get pre-approved instantly at triplejguam.com. Triple J Ford, built Ford tough, built for Guam.
When a warrior faces adversity, he fights through it. He finds a way. Freedom isn't free. Rolling strong. Belief. Believe you can, and you will.
Wheelchairs for Warriors provides mobility solutions to veterans and first responders injured in the line of duty. Join the mission and visit wheelchairsforwarriors.org.
The road to Adelup continues. This time, we sit down with Republican candidates. Vice Speaker Tony Atta and E.J. Calvo. Catch the full conversation that took place on May 5th on the Wave 105's YouTube channel. Stay informed and hear their vision for Guam's future. Wave 105 is a glimpse of Guam radio station.
Feeling good, getting things done. Wave 105 FM.
In the afternoon, that means you got some time to give us a call, 671-922-1051, or two, standing by, the host of the BrightSide right here on Wave 105, Mr. Pauly Suba.
This is the jam right here. I mean, when you listen to a song like this, you forget about being stuck in traffic.
Yeah.
You're like,
forget about all your problems.
I don't even have anywhere to go anyways. The light can stay red.
What?
For whatever I care.
The gas went up? Gas, oh yeah.
What war?
Yeah, what war? Yeah. What? Contract? What? Yeah. GVB? What?
So I
closing
just want
schools down.
I just want to share with our listeners. There is a lawsuit, a federal lawsuit, and so these allegations are serious. So I'm not going to make any jokes about it.
Yeah.
And everybody involved is. I want to make sure that we take in account for everybody that is involved. And so I'm not going to spin it in any way. It's no secret, right? So we're just going to share the information. I mean, the documents are out there now. How I came across them is I am part of a media chat group, and Troy Torres sent a couple pages over for other media to look at, obviously, because we're all in there, but then also asking his set of questions to the administration on what they know about this alleged cover-up over at Guam Visitors Bureau, right? And so the Guam PDN also wrote a story on it. And so it states that a former Guam Visitors Bureau employee has filed a federal lawsuit seeking more than $61 million in damages, alleging that she was sexually harassed and assaulted by former GVB President General Manager Carl Gutierrez, and that GVB leadership failed to properly address or prevent the misconduct. So when I look at some of the documents and then also comparing it to what the PDN had also reported on, right? The former employee is identified as Jane Doe, filed suit in federal court, alleges sexual harassment, sexual assault, retaliation, and a hostile work environment. She claims some incidents occurred during official GVB travel and others involved workplace interactions.
Yeah.
There was an instance that she recalls that while on a GVB work trip to Osaka, Gutierrez asked her to accompany him to his hotel room under the pretense of getting medication. Again, allegedly, Gutierrez grabbed her arm, told her he wanted to kiss her, prevented her from leaving, forcibly kissed her, removed parts of her clothing, made comments about her body. This Japan trip, Osaka, Japan trip, allegedly happened on October 2022. Then there was a Saipan trip, June of 2024, alleges that during a work trip in Saipan, Gutierrez sexually assaulted Jane Doe, claims the incident caused severe emotional trauma and symptoms consistent with post-traumatic stress disorder. And so why she didn't report it immediately, according to the lawsuit, Doe says she was afraid to come forward because Gutierrez was the head of the agency. She feared retaliation. There were no clear or safe reporting procedures. GVB lacked properly functioning human resources systems. The complaint argues that employees had no effective way to report misconduct involving senior leadership. And so Jane Doe says she reported the alleged harassment to GVB legal counsel in August of 2024. According to the lawsuit, she was allegedly told that the board would sweep it under the rug. The lawsuit states that an outside investigator was later hired and conducted an independent investigation. And according to the complaint, the investigator found her allegations credible. The investigator recommended reforms to prevent future misconduct. No disciplinary action was taken against Gutierrez because he had already resigned and declined to participate in the investigation. Doe says she waited more than 3 months to learn the outcome. She alleges she was never provided a copy of the final report. The lawsuit alleges that GVB leaders failed to stop misconduct and in some cases enabled it. The complaint specifically names GVB board chairman George Chu and accuses him of failing to address warning signs and maintaining a system that protected leadership from accountability. One allegation involves a June 2024 Saipan trip, again, where Doe and Gutierrez were staying at the same hotel. The lawsuit argues that Chu should have questioned why the arrangement existed and should have taken steps to protect employees, but allegedly did not. The lawsuit further claims that the board structure made it difficult for employees to report concerns directly and independently. What also the Jane Doe alleges that there was a long-standing culture where inappropriate conduct was tolerated. Like official travel was sometimes used for activities unrelated to government business. Young female employees were allegedly assigned to travel with senior officials without a legitimate business reason. Complaints were not properly addressed. Leadership protected senior officials rather than employees. And so GVB has also provided a statement to the PDN.
Okay.
It says here they take the allegations seriously. The Bureau announced that it has hired an independent off-island investigator to conduct a thorough review of the allegations. They say that they have also reviewed its anti-harassment policy, its reporting procedures, its response to complaints, and whether additional reforms are needed. In its statement, GVB emphasizes that it has a zero-tolerance policy toward harassment and remains committed to providing a workplace based on respect and dignity. Because the lawsuit is ongoing, GVB says it cannot comment further on specific allegations. Now, there is a statement from the Office of the Governor. And again, this was Troy Torres asking for further comments on the lawsuit, and the Office of the Governor sending it to the media chat for other media outlets to see the statement. And so I have it.
Okay.
And so again, I'm only, just like any of the other documents, I'm only going to talk about what is in front of me.
Yeah.
Right? If I don't have a document, then I don't know what's on it. So I'm not going to assume what else is on a document that I don't have a copy of.
True.
So in this statement, this is from the Office of the Governor. Sexual harassment and sexual assault are serious allegations, period, full stop. To the extent that it is alleged to take place in any workplace anywhere and lead to or create a hostile work environment is also a serious allegation, period, full stop. Since day one of her administration, Governor Lulian Guerrero, Guam's first ever female governor, a former nurse and business executive with experience overseeing thousands of employees throughout a decades-long career in business and public service, has always advocated for safe, healthy, and satisfying work environments that are conducive to both employee morale and productivity. GVB is a public corporation overseen by an independent board of directors and not under the direct control or answerable to the Office of the Governor. This is a civil matter against GVB and one member of its board of directors. This case does not involve any employees of our office or the government of Guam, and notion that the government engaged in a conspiracy to cover up the allegations in this civil case. They give the docket number as well that was filed in the District Court of Guam on June 1st, 2026 is preposterous. We will have no further comment. And so the office of the governor...
Did I hear that right? They're not answerable to the governor? That's what the statement said?
No, the office of the governor, right? Yeah. So GVB is a public corporation overseen by an independent board of directors, not under the direct control of or answerable to the office of the governor. They have their own board.
Yeah.
Right? And so obviously, though, I mean, we can draw whatever connections. If the governor knew that this was happening, then yeah, she's going to have to...
with everything that you just
held
read,
accountable.
Yeah, with everything.
But this statement is basically saying she's not.
Yeah. No, with everything that you had just mentioned, with the lawsuit, pertaining to the lawsuit, where apparently it seemed like the board knew.
When you read the documents that are available on Guam PDN,
yeah,
that is the allegation. And that is, again, I don't have all the documents on the lawsuit. But the documents that were in front of me, the ones that I was able to read, it says that George Chu.
We should look at the docket. Yeah,
I'm not paying the money though for it.
Of course not. What is it? 10 cents a page? Oh, jeez. Yeah, but because it's allegedly that they knew, if they did, and the allegation is they knew and they didn't do anything, then I would see, because this is a civil lawsuit, not a criminal one. Right? And so it seems like that's why they went to the federal court, because now it's, whatchamacallit again, the U.S. Department of Labor now that's into this.
Well, they also bring up something that was interesting, too, because I'm also trying to understand that, too. The 14th Amendment. And so it doesn't necessarily even have to do with workplace harassment, because that's normal. What is it, Title IX? Right? However, when an employer is a government agency, plaintiffs sometimes also argue that severe sexual harassment amounts to sex discrimination by the government, which can violate the Equal Protection Clause.
Exactly, and that's where Department of Labor comes in. Yeah.
And so there's the connection to why this is a federal
case. Yeah. Okay, I see. Yeah. Wow, this is very interesting.
It's very serious.
Very serious.
Again,
I would like to,
Governor, he was former governor 2 years, right? And he is very beloved. I have my own stories, right? But again, people need to be held accountable for their actions, especially if it's something this serious.
Yeah.
But I'm going to stop at that, because people are still innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah. I mean, do you know if, whether or not he's...
I don't.
Yeah, I mean, did he retain counsel? I mean, what's his take on
I am sure that will happen.
Yeah.
I'm sure that will happen. GVP also put out their own announcement. They're not going to speak any further on it. And neither will the governor's office.
Yeah.
However, what cannot happen is this cannot be swept under the rug.
It can't. Yeah, it's too serious.
It should have never, again, allegations are, but this should never. You have to take these, and everybody is saying the right things. GVB is saying the right things.
Yeah.
They're not sweeping it under the rug.
I think
now
people are going to be watching
everybody
this very,
has
very closely.
Their day in court. What I also would say too is when we are trying to draw connections to who's running, I would say that is a far stretch.
Yeah.
It's far stretch. You need to continue
overreach
to just vote on the merits of the person that is running, not based on a connection or a relationship with an individual. Because again, I mean, I'm just a firm believer. Now, everybody has their own opinion, and you have a right to it, but humans are secretive. You can keep secrets from your loved one.
You know, when
you can keep secrets from your parents.
I can tell you this much, being in talk radio for a while, people tend to look for somebody to blame. And the case, Pauly would be the one to do everything, but because my connection with you in the show, somehow I'm connected.
Oh, yeah, you're guilty by association.
Yeah, exactly. That seems to be the running theme nowadays.
Yeah. Yes. So again, whether it's an AI contract or a very serious allegation such as this or pocketing PUA money, again, people are responsible for their own actions, right? And so I'm not going to tell you how to think or who to vote for. But I am a firm believer that people have to be held accountable for themselves. And I completely understand what it means to love unconditionally. And so I also can see how you can still, we are not perfect. We all make mistakes. Some of us make terrible mistakes. However, I can see somebody supporting their family member and sticking by them and still running for governor. I can. And I can see Lieutenant Governor Josh Tenorio still moving forward and running. And I can still see people voting for him and him becoming the next governor. And at the same time, I can still see people saying, I'm not that stupid. If you knew, then shame on you. And if you didn't know, then shame on you some more. And I can't think of you being governor, because what else will you not know? I can see both things, and I can see people going to the polls thinking both those things. And that's, again, when I just think of Ryder and I think of his story, we can plan our day perfectly. We can plan our week perfectly. We can plan our year perfectly. We can plan our entire lives perfectly. It will never go as planned. And not just as an individual, but as a society, as a world. And so we can think the best of our champions and our leaders. They're just human beings. They're just human beings. They're going to make mistakes. We have to hold our leaders accountable for their choices. And we have to live with it. The sad part is some of these mistakes are $1 million mistakes. Some of these mistakes affect our children, right? It keeps them out of a brand new school as Simon Sanchez.
And this civil lawsuit, what is the amount that?
$60 million.
Wow. Whew. That's a lot of money.
Yeah. GVB will have to pay that.
Yeah. If this whole thing goes in the person's, with all the allegations, coming up with these allegations, if it favors her.
And just take it out. If whoever is guilty for this, no amount of money.
Yeah.
No amount of money.
But I'm making the connection that it's already hard that we're having issues bringing interest. And if this lawsuit goes in the favor of the person,
it doesn't look good.
Yeah,
it doesn't
really
look good, especially when the allegation is that you're taking trips that weren't even associated with tourism. Again, that's what people have already allegedly said. People have already have said this already. That's what people are already thinking. People have been thinking that the trips that were happening were just fun times. That's already been what people have said before this lawsuit. And GVB has time and time again defended those trips, that they are very necessary. We'll take the phone call. Hoffaday Wave 105, you're on the air. Hello there.
Hi.
You're on the air. Go for it.
Hey, Pauly. Hello?
You're on the air, friend.
Hey, Pauly.
Yes, sir.
Good job on summarizing that last comment, that last news article. You know, everybody likes Carl. He's a great guy, but people make mistakes, right? But at the same token, we do have to hold our folks accountable. And unfortunately, if it's any of this is true, you know, that's a terrible thing that happened. And you know, it just needs to air itself out, and then we can all move forward. But you know, that's too bad.
Well,
what a way to end the night,
right,
Pauly.
Well, here's the thing too, right? I mean, regardless how you look at it, like you just said, Governor Carl Gutierrez is beloved. He's a 2-time governor. So it does. There are people, this whole community is hurting. I think would even say heartbroken. I was a child and I barely understood this. Grown people were heartbroken when Ricky Berdalio was found guilty. And then when he committed suicide, the whole island mourned over it.
Yep. I mean, it's a shame, but thanks for ending the night the way you did.
Well, we're not going to hide. We're not going to avoid it, right? But I appreciate you calling in.
All right.
Take care.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Because again, this is how we as a community will heal too. We'll talk about it. I mean, I want to also be respectful. But over everything, Jane Doe is a real person.
Yes.
Is a real person. And so we pray for this individual and her family.
I mean, you have a daughter. I have a daughter, and man, it hits the core. You know, as a father, I'm like, I wouldn't want my daughter to go through that.
And okay, separating now, right? Because I don't need anybody making connections. But again, if you watch that one documentary that talks about the Deadpool killer, Wade Wilson, it's on Netflix. There are a number of documentaries, but my favorite one is on Netflix that rounds it out. It's like worst ex ever. I mean, this guy had so much charisma. He was charming. He was probably one of the most charming people. He was an extremely handsome man, and I'm saying this as a grown man, right? And he lured women to his home, and he strangled them to death. He lured another woman into his car, and he strangled her to death. And there were signs before that. A woman said that she had been raped by him, and he was not. They didn't even go to court. The investigator said that there was not enough evidence, that it was he said, she said. This man is in prison for the death penalty. If they could kill him twice, they would. And so, again, like sometimes it's just, it's too much. And so, again, allegations, everybody is innocent until proven guilty. But Jane Doe is a real person. And so we cannot just, because of whoever the allegations are coming from, discredit what she is saying happened to her. And so everybody that is now part of the investigation is saying they're taking it seriously, and she deserves nothing less.
Exactly.
We're going to get out of here.
Yes.
All right. And so we are going to do this all again. Melissa Savares, she's doing a fantastic job as a host, former retired mayor of Dededo. 6 to 10 filling in for Patty Arroyo. It's Wednesday, so Uncle Johnny and Auntie Bobby are going to be in studio for Vet Talk from 10 to 12. Ryan and I will be back for another BrightSide. On Wednesdays, we split our time, so we'll be on from 2 to 4. And then Odin Finu tomorrow with Señor Ron Laguatnia and Señor Holly will be in to do the entire show from 4 to 6 in tomorrow. Everybody get home safe. Be kind to each other, especially on the roads. Viva class of 2026.
Viva.
Congratulations, Aaron. We love you. Adios.
Though you may not drive a great big Cadillac, gangster white walls, TV antennas in the back. You